Okay, welcome back to the Music with Matt podcast. My name's John.
And I'm Wes, and today is kind of a special episode.
Right. It's special because we're going to try real hard maybe to think of something positive in relation to the topic. I don't know.
I mean, there are some positives when thinking about this specific topic in the context of music, but they are few and far between.
I was going to say, even just by how you're talking about it, it implies that mostly negative.
And, of course, we are talking about holiday music.
That's correct. Yeah. If you didn't figure that out already, holiday time means hopefully spending time with loved ones.
Yes.
General senses of merriment and cheer. And also, unfortunately, about a month and a half before that, the music starts. The holiday, the Christmas music, it just permeates your environment in the general public, whether you like it or not.
And it is nice sometimes.
Okay.
For some songs.
Right.
But I think the problem with holiday music at its core is just the oversaturation of, the handful of traditional songs that have been covered by every pop artist.
Right.
And every, saxophonist.
Right.
And every keyboard player.
And whatever Kenny G plays that instrument too.
That's exactly who I was thinking about.
He plays clarinet?
Clarinet, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. We can just say woodwinds. Generally, just, if there's a reed involved, then,
But I think that's what the problem ultimately is just the oversaturation of it in, the way we move through the world in relation to shopping malls and grocery stores and just general radio listening. But so it's I think a combination of those traditional songs done over and over and over and over again,
right?
Coupled with any original Christmas music is also pretty unbearable,
right?
Anytime somebody new does an original Christmas song, it's just like I don't know if I can listen to this.
Well, that's right. So for anyone listening, if you haven't figured it out, we're not the hugest fans of Christmas music, holiday music. There are exceptions, and we can get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But even just as you're speaking there, some things, it's worth kind of dissecting what you just said there. So an aspect of why, and let's not speak in general terms, we'll obviously just speak from our own perspectives, as we have a shared opinion on the subject, which is all in all not the biggest fans of Christmas music. So I think that you highlighted one thing there, which is worth noting, which is the notion of oversaturation. So even in the context of like popular music, so like you might have a band that you love and they have a new album, they release a single, and it just is played all over the place. That simply by virtue of that repetition, it makes you like the song less.
Yes.
Right? So that's not partial. So that aspect of it is not partial to Christmas music. That's more just the nature of something being far too repetitive to a point of it being something you can enjoy.
Yes.
And that is obviously a part of like Christmas music, because I'm just going to keep saying Christmas music, I think, from now on, because I don't know what, I know it's fairest to say the holidays, which obviously makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think, though, when we're talking about just walking through a shopping mall, perhaps your local drugstore, in a restaurant, perhaps.
There is a connotation to the Christmas holiday
It's
itself.
probably going to be Christmas music.
Yes.
So let's, for the purposes of this conversation, we'll just focus in on Christmas music. And so again, I guess it's like the repetition and the fact that, again, it just permeates your environment. Like, again, in the retail context specifically, like once it's the beginning of November, you just walk into a store and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas music. So the repetition and the fact that it permeates your environment without your choice, obviously, are things that work against the enjoyment of Christmas music. So that's one thing that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's think about the song creation itself.
Right.
The idea behind Christmas music. I'm going to say, if I'm going to kind of, strip back what you've just said, it seems like maybe Christmas music might have a chance with you. Like maybe the intent with someone writing a Christmas song might be okay because it would attempt to celebrate key aspects of Christmas, which is, again, cheer, merriment, a bushel of holly hanging from your door frame, a Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree.
Yes.
You know, how loyal are your branches? Is that one of the lines, by the way?
I don't know, but that's kind of a cool
We
line.
should look it up. It's
Yeah.
also strange.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that song was questioning. There's like potentially infidelity in whatever relationship they're in. They're like, okay, I'll write a song about a Christmas tree, but I'm bringing in the relationship.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
no matter what. I should look it up.
No, I mean, lyrical content aside, I think musically there's a lot of cool elements, especially to more of the traditional songs, right?
Okay.
Because when you cover a song, you can do it in a bunch of different ways, especially something that was created, a long time ago.
How lovely are your branches, by the way?
How lovely.
Makes way more sense. I like this. I like the scenario of someone, they're in a relationship. They're a songwriter. They're in a relationship.
Yeah.
There's infidelity.
Yeah.
It's brewing, and that's how they channel it. Anyway, sorry.
How lovely are your branches? Yeah, lyrical content. I mean, I think also it is kind of cool to a certain respect that like those songs have lasted as long as they have. Mind you, there's like a commercial value attached to them, which is so innate with the season and the Christmas holiday itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't want to spend too long on what we dislike about this whole genre, because there are some great things about Christmas music.
Right.
And what is an example of a good thing?
So, right. An example of a good thing, generally speaking, would be something that doesn't in any way resemble Christmas music.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. And I'm not even talking about music, just anything. No. So I would say, for me, the easiest one is the Vince Guaraldi trio,
Yes.
the like Charlie Brown Christmas, because, I think it allows you to tick both boxes where it's kind of like the music itself is able to stand alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't necessarily feel like like trying too hard to resemble characteristics of Christmas music. But then at the same time, on like the album that at least that I'm familiar with, like some of those songs are, jazzy nods to traditional Christmas songs, which is cool, which I think is like a way to kind of maintain that sort of tradition, but do it in a new way. And that's a fine line too. You know what I mean? Like if I'm hearing Kenny G do a Christmas classic, I might not be as into it.
Jazzy Christmas can be a bad thing.
It can be a real, and like you said too, like also, I don't know, if I hear like Taylor Swift or Britney Spears do a Christmas classic, I probably won't like it. I'm just going to say it without even hearing it. I know there's a hypothetical I'm sort of posing, although they've also done Christmas music. I'm just going to assume I probably won't like it. And yet they do the same thing as Vince Guaraldi. So this is like an interesting thing. It's that fine line, right? Like, and I guess like maybe it's not as over the top, and that's why it's passable. I don't know.
The subtleties, I think, of that album in particular. I also think that one thing that holds up well about it is it's mainly instrumental,
right?
Which I think is pretty cool because, again, back to the lyrical content. A lot of the lyrical content of Christmas music is pretty annoying.
Yeah.
So it's nice to just have those instrumental pieces.
Yeah.
Also, like the main, like the central song from that album is just like
Who do.
Yeah.
That one?
So much fun.
Yes.
Right? And then there's even the one like but the album itself like goes through so many different kinds of songs too, and there's like the very somber, sad one that just like rips your heart out every time you hear. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like calming at the same time.
I know. It's still
weird.
It still like fits in with the rest of the record. Yeah.
But it's tragic.
I know. Yeah. Which is too bad. Again, if you think about when you think about just like the spirit of Christmas, that's not what you would associate, and yet it still works. And I guess that's more thinking of that, like the album in its entirety and how, in terms of, it works as a Christmas album.
But I think that's reflective too of the fact that Christmas isn't like necessarily a great time for everybody.
That's
There's
true.
many emotions that transpire at Christmas. Maybe you don't get along with family members. Maybe
Right.
you've lost family members. Maybe that's not something that you've experienced in a positive way ever.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different things. So I think within the context of that album, it's nice that it has so many different sounds without, putting its own lyrics on it. Now, lyrics are interpretive as well. You don't have to take lyrics for face value. But when there's an absence of lyrics, I think it's you can project more of your own sort of experience on an instrumental piece of music.
100%. You're like kind of the emotional sort of meaning or like value to the music that you're listening to isn't isn't delegated as much by the lyrics for sure. And also I was going to say too, like what you said in terms of family, like some people also maybe Christmas marks the absence of gifts, right? Whereas maybe like for whatever reason you can't receive or give, whatever the context might be. So like another thing, a sort of somber aspect of Christmas, which is interesting to think about as well. But I think you're onto something with the more instrumental aspect of it. I think for myself, I think that's probably one of the reasons why that song, that album lands well with me,
Absolutely. And just in general, I feel like when, say I'm at a social gathering of sorts and somebody says like, "Hey Wes, you like music. How about you throw on some Christmas music for us?" I will almost always do, but when I do, it's like big bandy,
Right.
or it's like instrumental, it's old timey, jazzy, like those kinds of things are the go-to.
I thought you were going to say you like usually throw up in your mouth or something
I
like that.
throw the speaker out the window. Oh, no
kidding.
music, sorry.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like that's sort of the go-to as opposed to something with lyrical content. Now,
Right.
here's a challenge for you. Is there a good Christmas song from your perspective with lyrics?
Challenge accepted. And I do actually have an answer, which is great. I was going to ask you the same question because thinking about songs with lyrics, I actually, this about me, I don't really pay attention to song lyrics.
Yes.
So I should actually look them up to confirm that this is a song that I do like.
Lyrics are interpretive as well, as we just went
True,
over,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it can mean
yeah.
whatever you want it to mean.
It's hard to interpret them when you have no idea what they are, though.
Right.
But I would say the song "Oh Holy Night."
Okay.
And again, no idea what the lyrical content is. I will make a point of looking it up. But to me, the thing that is cool about it, and I guess this is more in terms of just a general appreciation of the music and less so because it's a Christmas song, but it starts off, it has like a sort of more positive, like, it's in a major key. It sounds great, but then it turns to a minor key and it has like, to me, a certain like kind of eerie ominousness. Ominousness? Is that a word?
I mean,
ominous?
it's just ominous.
It is ominous.
It is ominous.
So, it's kind of like what you were saying with the Charlie Brown Christmas thing too, where it's like it has the upside, it has the downside. I don't necessarily think about that when I like the song. I just like the contrast of the light and the dark, which is kind of cool too with Christmas, right? It's like a nice time of year. It's nice to see snow falling as well and things like that. But at the same time, if you see snow, it's like it's winter. Winter's cold. It's harder to get to places and things like that. So I would say, and again, I'm going to make a point of looking up the lyrics, but I would say "Oh Holy Night" has always been one where I'm like, this is actually a pretty cool song, which is also very much one of those classic numbers that you could expect to hear on like a Christmas song.
But
compilation
I think
playlist,
what's
whatever.
cool about that song too is that there's so much space, because there's definitely religious connotations to the lyrics,
Yeah.
right? But I think what's cool about that song, and just like thinking of like versions that I've heard, is there's a lot of space for cool vocal things like beautiful harmonies, choir vocals, different melodical takes on that piece, because it's traditionally a bit of a slower piece.
Yeah.
So which gives more space for sort of vocal experimentation. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I like that song, but I appreciate the fact that you do.
Very kind. That's the most generous answer you could give.
Yeah.
To me, that song is is akin to feces, but I like that you like it. But yeah, stars are brightly shining. It's the night of the dear Savior's birth. And then it changes, fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angels' voices. Oh, night
but
divine.
then you hear those like versions of it where they get like real intense on the fall on your knees, and it's
led by the light of faith, serenely beaming. Yeah, you lost me there. Anyway, unless they're talking about light, like literal light, like from your Christmas tree, the Christmas lights. Okay, so same question, flip to you though. Christmas song, and like I guess a traditional Christmas song.
Traditional.
Okay, so not then. But what's a Christmas song that has lyrics that you can get behind?
First thing that comes to mind is Mariah Carey.
No.
Yeah, dude, that song rocks.
All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Yeah, man.
Oh no.
Yes,
really?
absolutely.
I mean, I understand it's a hit, and
this is a pop sensation. That
it's
song,
true.
right?
I feel like she probably. It would be. Of all the money she's ever made, I would be curious to know what percentage has come from that song
Majority.
specifically. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because of the replay value, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like all of those department stores in and around, certainly North America, I don't know about like internationally, every year get multiple plays.
And here's what I appreciated about that song. And I feel like we've talked about this in the past, just kind of like my general I wouldn't say love, because the replay value isn't there on pop music for me, but when I hear a good pop song, I'm just like taken in, and there's just so many things about that song that are great. Like, first of all, Mariah Carey's an incredible vocalist.
It's a great voice.
Right? And she does like go all over the place with that song.
Yeah.
The production value of that song is immaculate.
Right.
And listen to it with a good pair of headphones, because there's so much happening.
This may not surprise you. I've never gone out of my way to listen to that song with headphones,
and that's
or in
fair,
general.
man. Yeah. Do yourself a favor.
Well, that's a tough challenge to accept.
Yeah. My Christmas gift to you, John.
Is
that to me epitomizes like Christmas music, the good and the bad, because you listen to that song more than once in a period of 12 months.
Yeah.
You want to like stub your toe and focus on other things because it's wildly obnoxious.
Yeah.
But as far as a pop song goes, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Now
that's fair. So, and I'm just like looking up the lyrics here for this.
It's not deep, I don't think.
So the thing that's cool, I was gonna say is, oh no, there's mention specifically to a Christmas tree. I was gonna say, I wondered, and then Santa Claus. Okay, I wondered even how much of it was like really appealing to this Christmas idea. Maybe it was more so about the idea of wanting to be with people that you love around the holiday time. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you, baby. Oh, I won't ask for much this Christmas. I won't even wish for snow. And I'm just going to keep on waiting underneath the mistletoe. So we're taking a lot of boxes of Christmas traditions here.
We're hitting all of the sort of cliche Christmas imagery.
I won't even stay awake to hear those magic reindeer click. Okay, so that one though, Mariah Carey, and again, you're not alone. I think a lot of people.
I'm not putting it on the mix of Christmas songs, but in terms of Christmas songs with lyrics that I can digest.
Okay. And sorry, go ahead.
No, that was kind of where.
Okay. So what I was gonna say is interesting is like off the top, we kind of talked about how original, like newer groups doing original Christmas songs.
Oh,
right. It's like
that's where original Christmas songs like that were created past 1960, even 1950,
right,
like were somewhat acceptable.
Okay.
That is the only song on that list.
Right. So it's interesting that you can tick that box. Original.
Wham! Last Christmas is also like kind of a great catchy fun pop song.
And again kind of brings in this concept of like upbeat and happy mixed with sort of sad and somber.
Somber lyrical content, yeah.
Yeah, the very next day you gave it away.
Yeah. Last Christmas I gave you my heart.
Yeah. Like, that's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go out of my way to give you my heart. And then the very next day you gave it away.
The
like,
regifter.
Right. Now, what's the this year?
I don't know.
What's the next line?
I can't go any farther off the top of my head, but we'll
whenever that line comes up,
yeah.
once the next one comes, I've hit stop
Yeah,
or skip
yeah,
already. This is interesting for me because I've never really looked at the lyrics, which again is not uncommon for me in general, but especially with Christmas songs. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Okay. Great. So in this, the character here in this song they've reached a place of empowerment. They're not going to go through that again, right? Love is a cherished thing. I'm not going to,
Look at you dissecting lyrical content.
Okay, so as the song goes on, still just a reflection of what utterly was a mistake. The thing that I want to know is, at one point, does this character find someone who receives the love well? Now I found a real love. You'll never fool me again.
So there's resentment.
Yeah. Okay. A face on a lover with a fire in his heart. A man undercover, but you tore me apart. Oh. Now I found a real love. You'll never fool me again. Okay. For the most part, the general spirit is they're upset. He's upset.
We can take that away.
Which is too bad. Because also, even if the newer person who received his heart, even if George Michael was like happy to do that, if I were the recipient of that, I would be like, it doesn't feel like you're doing this because you want to. It feels like you're doing this because you want to sort of like spite the other person who spited you the year previously, It's like you're just like a tool you're just a cog in the wheel at that point. That song's not bad, though, actually. I would say Wham! Last Christmas, it's okay. I would take that over Mariah Carey. I don't know if you would.
They're in the same category. Like by no means am I ever creating a playlist around them or sharing them with other people. But when they come on and I'm at the grocery store, I don't want to, throw myself out of the building.
Right. You're not like plugging your ears and running to your car or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. And inadvertently, I guess I found a more pop version of a pop song that I don't mind. That's a Christmas song would be Wham! Last Christmas. I mean, that's again, like that's a relative, it's a stretch, I suppose, but there you go.
But now there is a song that we both kind of love that we stumbled on last year around this time.
Oh, yeah.
And it has lyrics.
True. Walking in the Air?
Walking in the Air.
By Peter Ari or something like that?
Something like it's an older piece.
That song rips.
It's incredible, and it's like so sad, but like again calming, again like happy, joyous, but like you feel everything all at once. And I'm sure most people, I don't know if I've ever heard it before, and yet it just sounded so familiar.
Yeah. And I would say though, so this I've seen a couple things. Peter Auty, Auty,
something like that, yeah.
But then also Howard Blake comes up in terms of maybe lyrics. Though, I suppose, when we came across this song, there was a video that accompanied it, and it's like a kid that's floating through the sky with a snowman, and it's the wintertime and things like that, which is cool. I feel like it's not even really specifically a Christmas song in terms of the lyrical content. Like, unlike
because
the
story
or Mariah Carey or whatever.
The boy and the snowman like go on an adventure together.
Yeah, it's more about just like being on a mission in the wintertime. There's no real.
But it's kind of Christmassy though, like unequivocally, right? Like
I guess so. Again, in terms of the accompanying imagery, but the song itself, to me, almost like may lack some of the key characteristics to tick the box of Christmas song. We're walking in the air, we're floating in the moonlit sky, the people far below are sleeping as we fly. I'm holding very tight. I'm riding in the midnight blue. I'm finding I can fly so high above with you. Far across the world, the villages go by like trees, the rivers and the hills, the forests and the streams. So, like,
Oh, I've got chills already.
it's awesome. Again, and like musically, the chord progression and stuff like that is so cool.
Ridiculous.
And it was presented to us in the context with a group of some of the folks that we were working with. Like, it was presented to us as a song where they're like, I like this Christmas song.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very well received by everyone in that group, including us, obviously. But even just reading the lyrics, it's like that could be any song.
You're right. And this is a song that I do share with people.
Yeah.
When they say, hey, what's a good Christmas song? I'm this one.
Yeah.
So maybe to end off the episode today, what is one song you cannot stand that's a Christmas song?
Anything that's not the songs mentioned today.
One song in particular. What's your, like...
Oh, I got one.
Power rankings of, like, all-time worst Christmas song.
And I it's already in my head. I was going to say I'm reluctant to say it because it's going to get stuck in my head. But I think it's Paul McCartney. It might be the Beatles, but like simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Oh, yeah. Who is that?
I loathe that song.
I don't know if it's the Beatles. It might be Paul McCartney, though.
I mean, it represents the part of Paul McCartney's music that I absolutely hate. Paul McCartney for me is Dr. Jekyll it's like the two angels on your shoulder.
Paul McCartney and the Wings, 1979.
And Wings too. That's too bad because I don't mind Wings at all. But like, on one hand, one shoulder, it's like Paul McCartney, the genius. I love your music, the cool songs that you create. The other hand is like Paul McCartney, that side, just the fluffy, horrible pop side that is just the worst. And that is the aspect of like even the Beatles catalog that I can't get behind. That's a whole other episode. But anyway, that song comes to mind.
For me, it's easily the Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, of course.
Christmas song. If you could like have the most annoying sound on a piece of music, it would be that voice.
Yes. Coupled with just the idea of a Christmas
song. songs in just like wildly obnoxious ways. And the music in that song is very, very sparse.
Yeah.
There might be a little guitar,
right.
A very loose, maybe like kick drum beat and some strings, and that's it. And then the vocal, and it's unbearable.
It's like the people who are like, how can we really monetize things this Christmas? And they're like, you know what? Let's go somewhere else with it. What if we made the worst possible song ever?
And maybe that was the goal because they potentially succeeded.
Now we should do some research and like look for some interviews of whoever wrote that song and find out how they feel about things now.
Probably living in their mansion from the royalties on that song.
Well, but maybe hating every part of it.
Sure,
well,
sure.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Like the view's great, but I really don't like myself as a person. Imagine. No, but it makes me think of that group Warrant and that song Cherry Pie. Mm-hmm. And like if you see interviews with the singer, I think he's the singer, at least the person who in the band who wrote that song. The record label was literally like, give us sort of like a fluff pop radio kind of rock song. And that one was written, and it's just like, lo and behold, that's the song that everyone knows by that group. Nothing else. I mean, maybe there's some hardcore like Warrant fans out there, but most people just know the song Cherry Pie. And so he's just like, I fucking hate that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the same as the person who. But Alvin and the Chipmunks was a thing. It wasn't even just that song. It was a show.
Yeah, it was a show, movie, all of the above, and
we gotta look into that.
We will. We'll get back to you next time. Anyways,
enjoy your holiday season, everyone.
As always, thanks for listening. Enjoy the holidays.
If there's any music that you like that you think stands a chance that we didn't mention, let us know.
Also, check out Walking in the Air.
Yeah, please
good.
do. That's
it's
a great. Good. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, have a great holiday season, and we'll catch up with you in the new year.